and see what everyone's talking about.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Assalamu alaikum. Wait a minute, I got a microphone, you don't, so you get another chance. Assalamu alaikum. Take it easy, take it easy. Everybody wants to get into showbiz. All right, so hey, we're here and the conference is kicking off, and it's, are you having fun yet? All right. So we made it here on time, and this is very important for Muslims to have this lesson of being on time. I think it's a very valuable thing. And also to be prepared. I was a Boy Scout leader for a lot of years, and one of the sayings they have in the Boy Scouts is, be prepared. So are you prepared? Have you thought about this? Am I really prepared? The topic that we want to talk about is about education versus proselytization, but they couldn't spell that, so they just said evangelization, which there is no such word, okay? But that's okay, cool stuff. And our subject is dealing with what is the proper approach and what do we need to do, what's next. So this is really what we're going to be talking about, and there'll be a little setup for that. But before we get into anything else, the first and foremost thing I want to do is introduce myself. My name is Yusuf. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Can you say Yusuf? Yusuf. That's amazing. They got it right the first time. You know, all these years my wife still says useless. I guess she's got a speech impediment. Anyhow, by the way, if you laugh at these jokes, you'll laugh at anything. What's going on with Islam right now in the world? Let's think about that, and then we'll understand why we chose this topic for tonight. What we find everywhere we go is the thing that we've been hearing about for the last 20 years from those within Islam and those outside of Islam. Of course, there's a different take, a different perspective, but the statement still rings the same way. Islam is the fastest growing deen, religion, on the planet Earth today. You do speak English, right? How come I didn't hear Allahu Akbar? Okay. You get, where's Eddie? You didn't give them their cue cards? They don't know what to say next. That's all right. Alhamdulillah. Let me try that again. Islam is the fastest growing religion today. There you go. It works both ways, guys. So, whether you're a Muslim and you're excited about it, or a non-Muslim and worried about it, it's still a fact and everybody's talking about it. Imagine the horrible publicity that Islam has had. Never, ever in history has any religion suffered so much abuse, or let's say reporting and journalism, in the history of human beings. Never has there been such a thing to see so many people willing to get up and speak about Islam in negative terms, even some claiming to be Muslim, and still attacking Islam and the foundation of it. Amazing? But still people come to Islam anyway. Even though we have, I don't know, have you seen anything good in the news about Islam at all? Even one good thing? Where they got on the news and said, a nice thing happened today in Karachi, Pakistan. Some very nice people. They didn't say that. Yet people still come to Islam. And you get, what's this? This means quote, right? Means not really, okay? Not really Muslim who attacks Islam and says the worst, most negative things, even about Rasul Sallallahu, even about Quran, even about the law. And still people are coming into Islam. And the other faith groups out there attacking and slamming and making up things, and subhanAllah, even from their own groups, they come to Islam. There's a lot of stories, but I'll share this one with you just to give you an example. At George Mason University, down where I live now in Virginia, I was giving lectures down there, talks, you know, the Muslim Student Association used to invite me down, and we would put out these CDs and tapes, things like that, out on the tables and give them out to the people. And one of the concerned Christians who had their own little booth decided they're going to shut us down. What they did, they just took all the stuff we had when we weren't looking, just loaded it up, right? And gone. We look up, how was the stuff? It's gone. The books are gone, the tapes are gone, the videos are gone. Man. Oh well, alhamdulillah, right? About a year later, right, I'm going down, the brother's taking me down. He said, do you recognize me? And I said, not really, I don't know you. He said, yes, you do. I'm so-and-so. I said, you don't look right. You look different. The huge beard. He said, yeah, you give that lecture about the beard, everything, and so I grew the beard. And, okay. He said, you know what else happened down there about the same time? Same university. I said, what? He said, remember that guy that used to bug us all the time and he stole all the stuff off the table? I said, I remember the guy. He said, yeah, well, he did it. He's the one that took it. I said, how do you know that? He said, because one of his friends told him, and we hear this, right? The Muslims hear this. His friend is coming up to him and said, you're the one that hates Islam so bad. Yeah. Well, how come your sister became a Muslim? He said, oh, that. He said, I took all of those videotapes off of the table for the Muslims. I took them home, right? I was going to like record some music over them or something. And my little sister found those tapes and she played it in the TV, man, and accidentally she became a Muslim. That's a true story. So look how they try to put out the light of Allah. And they can't. Because this is not my religion. It's the religion I want to follow, yeah. But it's Allah's deen. It belongs to Allah, and Allah is making it successful. In spite of the stupid things that we do, in spite of the fact that many of us sit around and don't do anything at all, in spite of the fact that we have so much attention, negative, and people attacking, Islam's still growing and growing and growing and growing. This is clearly one of the biggest proofs that Islam is haq. Because you can't imagine this kind of a scenario for anything else, and it would do anything except diminish. But it grows. And it grows. Alhamdulillah. So now, having said that, let's come to our subject tonight. We want to talk about this education business. Because I'm going to tell you the second part of it is obviously I'm not going for the proselytization scheme anyway. It is about education. It's always been about education from day one. A person can be a Muslim and still be pretty ignorant. But an ignorant Muslim is not near as successful as the one who has proper knowledge following Islam. And it makes sense. If you're an ignorant person trying to drive a car but you don't know how and you don't know any of the rules, it's most likely you're going to have a lot of problems. Yeah? So, I mean, just common sense. If you know how to drive a car, somebody taught you, didn't they? Didn't somebody teach you how to steer and drive and do stuff like that? And then when you went to get the driver's license, you did get a driver's license, didn't you? Okay. So when you went to get the driver's license, then you get a book and you read the book and you studied it and you did, and you did a test. Some of us had to go back and get it to do it again. And again. My wife does all the driving in our family anyway, so. She got a driver's license. I want to think about the comparison if I'm going to talk about, this is something as simple as driving a car. Don't you know there's rules, and don't you know that there will be consequences for the acts that we do when we're on the highway? You can get a ticket, you can get hurt, you can get killed. It's simple. So how about our way of life? Shouldn't we know something about it? We all know we're going to die. Shouldn't we know something about that? We all know, with no doubt in our minds, that we will be terminated in this life. You're not going to live forever. So shouldn't we get some kind of basic education about it? Now, before we get too far, though, I want to share with you something. I want you to think about it. Do you know what information is? Do you know what knowledge is? Do you know what wisdom is? Are they the same thing? Information is stuff you store on a computer, isn't it? isn't it? Information is what you put on your hard drive. Data. Right? What's knowledge? Knowledge is being able to take the information and put it to work and do something with it. Right? And what's wisdom? There's an old saying, maybe you've heard this before, talking about this subject. Is the one who's making a prayer, and he's asking Almighty. Actually, it comes from American Indians, they say. But he's praying to the one above, and he's asking, "Oh God, give me the strength to change the things that I can change. And give me the patience to endure the things that I can't change. And give me the wisdom to know the difference." So there are a lot of things in life that we can look at and say, this needs to be changed. Muslims are ordered to do that. So we need to have information about that. But then there are some things we can't change, and for that we need what? Sabr. Yeah? Yes or no? And then for the things that we can't change versus those that we can change, we ask Allah to give us the hikmah to know which is which, so we don't waste our time or get in worse trouble. It's pretty simple. I'll give you a couple examples and I'll be done. By the way, that was my speech. I'm done. That's it. I just wanted to tell you how important it is this, to know the difference between information, knowledge, and wisdom. Got it? So think about this. If somebody has information and he's walking around just repeating what he hears, his information. Information. Is that good or bad in Islam? Good or bad? It's bad. Qira wa qal. These are two things that are hated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That somebody who just goes around, he said, she said, he said, she said, it's information. But it could be very detrimental to a good society. Yeah? Yeah, I know what she did yesterday. I know what he did. And that. It's information. But are we supposed to do that? Are we supposed to broadcast all the things that people do? Are we supposed to be talking about other people all the time? Even if it's true. What is it called if you do that? You remember? It's in Surah Al-Hujurat. What's it called? Ghiba. Can you say that? Ghiba. By the way, when I came into Islam, I had to learn some new letters that we didn't have. And I was thinking, this is too much, until one of my friends in Texas said, no, we got some of those letters already. I said, like what? He said, Ayn. I said, we don't have Ayn in Texas language. He said, yes, we do. I said, in English? He said, no, not in English, in Texas language. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I ain't going to do it. And if we put a dot over it, you're going to do it. Anyway. I do that to make sure you're still awake. But I want you to think about this. Somebody going around repeating what he hears, repeating what he hears, repeating what he hears. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us what it means in English. It is sufficient for a person to do that. It's sufficient for a person to just repeat only what he hears to consider he's a liar. Kadhiba. Whoever is repeating what he hears in a day's time is a liar. So what does that tell you about journalists? Although we didn't need anybody to tell us that, did we? But what about the one who has some knowledge? Now I'm going to go to another character in my story here. This one, he's got knowledge. Now this is the one that comes up to you when you go in the masjid, right? And you're going to do salah, you get stop off and do salah, got to get home, got to stop by the store, you go in, and then you're coming up to the, going to, brother! Huh? What? Akhi? What? Yes? Adina nasiha. Have you heard these brothers? You know what I'm talking about? You're like, oh God, not you again. Am I right or wrong? You know what I'm talking about? Huh? These are the guys when you walked in the masjid, they were looking. Left foot or right foot, left foot or right foot. Left foot! Astaghfirullah on you! Brother, adin al-nasiha. You heard it, yeah? You come walking in, he said, brother, astaghfirullah, your pants are too long. I wasn't worried about my pants, I'm worried about my legs. You know, if they were, seriously, if my legs were any shorter, I couldn't reach the ground. You could have laughed a little harder at that one. That work? Watch the laugh meter. Tell me if it worked. My legs wouldn't reach the ground. Forget about it. Anyway, so somebody's telling you your pants are too long. Where did you get that? Knowledge, brother. Yes. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said that whatever drags from your trousers on the ground is in hell. How many of you know that that's way, way out of twist? That's not right. That's not what it says. Trousers. Trousers. How many of you know the hadith? If you know the hadith, raise your hand. Okay, what was the word? Izar. How many of you know what izar is? Anybody know? Have a clue? Anybody here done Hajj or Umrah? Raise your hand. Anybody want to do Hajj or Umrah? Raise your hand. Oh my God, Allah let all of us do Hajj and Umrah again. Ameen. Ameen. I love it. Okay, so the clothes that you wear in Hajj, for the men, that's what they used to wear then, only it didn't have to be all white, and it didn't have to be without the sewing and all that, but that's what they wore. An upper and a lower garment. It wasn't trousers that they got at Kmart. They didn't have the zippers, zip, zip, and all that stuff. They didn't have that. Did they? Okay, so you got to understand, before you even open your mouth, you're saying the wrong thing. And you're giving translation to something you know what you're talking about. Because if I'm walking in there, I'm coming in, and sometimes my pants are sliding down, you know, because I've been losing a lot of weight. I know you were probably thinking to tell me how much better I look since I lost 2.5 pounds. Alhamdulillah. It's good food. Since I've been in Islam, I gained so much weight. Oh. But in any case, so my pants are going to drag down, and somebody's coming up to me, Akhi, adina nasiha, astaghfirullah, this, and you're going, oh. Now he has carefully rolled up his designer blue jeans before he came in, you know what I'm saying? And he's got those all rolled up. And this happened, by the way. I'm not joking. It happened to me, and the only clothes I had was, if any of you guys and girls maybe know what this, any of you guys ever wore any of those Pakistani pants? Huh? You have to get the rope and go, and tie it off, and you're like, whoo! And you're scared all the time, because I'm not used to this, you know. By the way, listen. Hear that? I have elastic in them now. Yeah, my wife put it in there. But anyway, when you get that string thing, you pull it up and you tie it up and you're walking, hoping maybe something won't, you know. So, and here these things are dragging on the floor in the masjid. I was a Muslim maybe, I don't know, 6 months or something like that. And this brother comes to me, brother, astaghfirullah, this is haram. I said, what? He said, this trousers. You have to do like this. He showed me, and I said, okay, but I can't, these don't even roll up. You got to pull them up, like this. Quit laughing. Now you laugh, wrong time. Okay, so anyway, here I am with this problem, and I don't even know this is hadith, I don't know anything about it. But do you know what the Rasul said about this? He said, what drags of the izar, what trails behind him in the dirt is trailing in the hellfire. This is what he's talking about. Now, here's what happens. Abu Bakr, is the one who says he had the same problem I did with it dragging down. And he said, because, you know what, it doesn't fit, and we're so skinny, we don't have any food, and our clothes are, dropping down. And, he's sneaking away here, hold on. So Rasul said, this is not talking about you. It's not talking about you. This is talking about the one who's doing this out of pride. Kibr. What is kibr? And Rasul also said, this is another hadith, whoever has a speck, I'm going to use the word speck, something tiny, speck of kibr, he will not enter Jannah. The Sahabi were very concerned about this. They said, well, we get a new coat, or we get, upper garment or something, or, we're happy, we're proud, or whatever we got. And Rasul said, no, it's not talking about that, it's talking about shirk. Understand, this is Arabic. Kabara. Kibr. This is the root for Akbar. Only Allah is Akbar. You don't have the right to put yourself up there with that kind of arrogance. Talking about a person being like, hey man. You know what I'm saying? You got a point, man. That's what he's talking about. Because it used to be that people did drag their garment like that to show how arrogant they were. And if you doubt what I just told you, you can check it with the scholars, but you can also, any Christian can tell you the same thing. It's in the Bible that the Pharisees used to do exactly the same thing, trailing their garments behind them to show off who they are. Yes, and Jesus, according to their book, cursed them for that and said they would go to hell. So what's the difference? It's the same story, isn't it? So here's the one coming to you with his information. Got that now? That's why I'm giving you this example. He's got information, and he's coming up to you and telling you something. But guess what else he told you that wasn't right? When he said, Adina Nasiha. And you say, what does that mean? It means our religion is advice. How many of you have heard this one, Adina Nasiha? How many of you know that's not true? You know it isn't really what it said. Because, you know what the word advice means? What's advice? You go up and give somebody advice. You talk to them, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this. It's like criticism almost. Hey, you know what? Blah, blah, blah. But when Rasul ﷺ said it, what is the rest of the hadith? How many of you know the rest of the hadith? 1, 2, only? 3, 4? Okay, great. To whom? Isn't that the next thing that happened? They asked him, who is the one that gets this? And what was the answer? Allah. Wa kutubihi. His books, or book, his Quran, and his Rasul, and the one who is the Amir, the Wali Amr of the people, and the general public. Now, question. If you understood what I just said in English, how can you use advice? Can you advise Allah? You're going to tell Allah something? Adina Nasiha, to who? Allah. Allah, I don't like the way, the mango has that big seed in the middle. I need a small one so I get more stuff to eat. And the neck on the giraffe, I'm sorry, that looks, that's gross. You see how ridiculous it is? Even a non-Muslim would look at it and say, yeah, that's really stupid. And how about the book? You're going to tell it, what will you tell the Quran? You're going to, I don't want to go there. And Rasul ﷺ, his companions didn't tell him what the religion was, did they? Huh? No. And go to another level, how about the Amir of the people? Most of us never get to talk to the leader, do we? Huh? So how would it mean that? Every one of us is going to go talk to, okay, get in line. Can you see the queue? 400,000 people standing out in front of his house every morning. What is this? And the general people. I don't know all the people. I like to. But that isn't really the deal, is it? So look again and ask the scholars. And ask them, and they're going to tell you, this is more like being dedicated, more like being obedient, or more like being what? Sincere. Being sincere. So the one coming to you with this, you sure right about that? sure right about that. But is that giving a demonstration of what the hadith is? No, the other way around. Now, what happened in real life? This same brother, when the salah was over, went back out to his car. And I remember looking out the window of the masjid, watching him, thinking what a sweet brother to come and take his time to give me nasiha. And now I've got, and watched him get into his taxi and roll his pant legs right back down again. So what is that all about? So only in the masjid, what is that all about? How does that work? And it doesn't stop with that, because the next thing, somebody will say, brother, where's your lehya? Where's your beard? Or I have a beard, it's too short. Your beard is too short, brother. And your miswak. Brother, where's your miswak? Well, it's right here. Oh, that's too small. Or I have this one, too big. You've seen some of the brothers have that great big fat one that they've had since, last Eid or something? They put toothpaste in it. By the way, this is really bad. It will give you trench mouth. The thing is supposed to be cut off every day and you peel it back. It's very good for you if you use it right. Otherwise, it can give you the thing you're trying to get rid of. But anyway, come back to the subject. So the guy is telling you your pants are too long, your beard is too short, the miswak's too fat. You're going, wait a minute. How is it that this guy can measure my deen for me? He can measure my Islam. He must have a dipstick and run it down in the heart and pull it out. Okay, you're about 2 quarts low on Iman. Can you pull it in over here? We'll just change that out. What is that? Huh? This is knowledge, but no wisdom. And it's not really good knowledge because he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's much better, really, if you see a brother has something, to ask, shall we ask the imam about this subject? Can we ask somebody of knowledge? Maybe we'll both learn something here. That would be the best way. But so many times, he's going to find out that he was actually wrong. One more on this. I don't want to leave this one too quick because it's very critical. I gave shahada to the chief of one of the American Indian tribes one time. But before he entered Islam, he said, I have a question. He said, either way, I want to be a Muslim, but I do want to ask the question before I enter Islam. Must I cut my hair? Now, he had his hair back in a ponytail. And I asked him, why do you have it? I didn't say yes or no, I just said, why do you have it? He said, because in my tribe, you cannot be the leader, you can't be the chief if you cut your hair. It has to keep growing. Now, if it gets cut accidentally or something like that, it won't hurt, but you don't cut your hair. I said, okay. He said, and in my tribe, everybody has to accept the religion of the chief. So if I accept Islam, 16,000 people are going to be making shahada. Should I cut my hair? No. Now watch what happens. It was not even 2 or 3 weeks, and he's in the masjid doing sunnah salah. Some brothers came from the Gulf, and when they came in the door, they're introducing their friends to me, and I'm greeting them. And one of them, it just said salam, hello, my name is, and he points straight over to our brother who's in sajda with his hair out on the ground. He said, you need to tell him to cut his hair. I said, what? He said, you need to tell him to cut his hair. I said, really? Why? Why? He said, because it's haram. Whoa, haram hair. Okay. And then now the brothers are trying to shut him up because they know how I am, you know. They know he's about to get, so they're telling, Abdullah, you know, it's not his name, but, you know, said, no, let me ask you a question. You're in the military, yeah? By the way, his lehya was rather short too, but that's okay. He's saying, cut this hair. I said, how? He said, it has to be like sunnah. I said, what is the sunnah? He said, like mine. He's in the Air Force and he's got what? Huh? Every man in this room has more beard than that guy had hair on his head. And even some of the sisters. But that's beside the point. I'd get away with that. I'm leaving tomorrow anyway. Anyhow, you forgive me, right? Okay. So when somebody says something like that, I ask him, you think this is Sunnah? He said, yes. I said, what do you know about Rasulullah? He said, short hair. He said, exactly. Where did you get this from? Did you hear about an author by the name of Ibn Hisham, who did a lot of work on the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ? This is the biography of Prophet Muhammad. He goes, no, yeah, I think so, maybe, mumkin. I said, okay. I said, brothers, Rasul's hair was here, almost to his shoulders. Sometimes it would be high, but hair like this. Where is your problem? Then he wants to quote, information ready, quote, said, yeah, he told him it's haram. The Prophet ﷺ told somebody haram if he has long hair. It was, he had long ponytail, so he told him it's haram. Is that the hadith? No. Somebody had a ponytail, long hair, and had it bunched up in the back, and when they got ready to do salah, Rasulullah ﷺ told him what? Untie it and let it make sajda with you. Yes or no? Now how did you got to shave your head out of that? So it's actually not even information, it's misinformation, and we're passing it off like this is deen. It's very scary when you stop and realize the situation that we're facing with this kind of stuff. I'm not trying to tell you I know anything. I didn't know anything at all about Islam when I came in. That's why I had to listen to everybody that came along. What I'm saying is we need knowledge, proper knowledge from real scholars. And alhamdulillah, we do have some in this country. And by the way, I happen to know scholars around this planet. I just came back from Australia. The month before that, I was in South Africa. The month before that, I spent the whole month in Egypt. And everywhere I go, I meet scholars. But I haven't found any better for us here than what we have right here. Because they know our situation, and they know what we're living in our environment, and they know the deen. You have to learn the lesson of stop going shopping for a fatwa. Don't shop for a fatwa of an Islamic ruling. Don't do that. When they say riba, is it haram? Yes. Okay, never mind him. Let's go to the Shaykh. Riba, is it haram? Yes. Shaykh, is interest haram? What's interest? Somebody's interested in their money. No, it's not haram. Hey, alhamdulillah, we can do riba. See how it works? Sneaky, sneaky. Shop until you get what you want. But anybody who will look at the ayahs in Surah Baqarah, started by ayah 275, 76, 77, 78, go right in there and read what it says, especially the last part when Allah talks about whoever continues this thing of riba, be apprised of a harb, war of Allah and His Messenger against them. That doesn't scare you? You're not afraid of that? And any sheikh who will come and say something about this and say, blah, 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 and the fatwa, blah, 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 this is not fatwa. Hada fatwa. Glad you didn't know Arabic. You don't know what's this word? You know this word, yeah. This is what shaitan does whenever you make the adhan, and he runs away. Now you know. So what I'm trying to get a point across, that information by itself doesn't necessarily mean wisdom. Now what's wisdom? I'll just give you one example because I want to hear what our brother, the other Yusuf, has for us today. So I'm going to just give you one example of this. After almost every speech that I give, especially in the masjid, especially Jummah, when I'm trying to get out of the building, I have brothers come up to me and they're always saying, brother, I got to talk to you. I got to tell you. I got a question. And you're like, okay, well, no, it's got to be quiet, but I got to, this question, it's really, I say, okay, how long have you been married to her? How did you know? She's not Muslim, is she? How did you know? Because that's what everybody does every week. They want to come, how, and blah, blah, blah. The big problem. Mushkil akbar. Okay. Now, the same can happen. A sister will come to me. And now the sister's got another way to approach it. They come out. Now, everybody, all of us, we'll fall for that. We'll fall for that, man. She'll come up to you and go, I just, and then, that's it. Because there's something inside of us that wants to play the hero, pull out the sword and dun dun dun. Is it? So what we understand from this when we see it. See that? Huh? See? I'll read it to you. It says, why do you look so cute on TV? Shucks. But when they come up to me with these questions and they say, my husband, he, or my wife, she, I tell them, wait a minute. Before I can answer this question, I need from you a coin. They said, a coin? You charge money? No. I just want to see it. I need a coin that only has one side. Did you understand that? Is there such a thing? No. Everything's got another side. I don't want to hear your side without him present. And I don't want to hear your side without her present. It has to be. So until you can show me a coin with one side, I'm not going to listen to a one-sided story. Does that give you an example of what we're talking about with wisdom? Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Now let's go back over it one more time, wrap it up. Something called information, just information. Something called knowledge, and something called hikmah, or wisdom. And this is what we desperately need today, and we can get that. This is the end of the speech. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.